A massive storm will be impacting the United States as we get closer to Thanksgiving, and this is going to bring a few different problems, including the potential for some severe weather across parts of the southeast and as well as the east coast of the United States. And there's also a potential for a winter storm with this across parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. And then behind all of this, we are going to be dealing with the potential for a large Arctic blast, potentially the coldest weather that we've seen almost this entire year. So in today's forecast, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 days. Let's begin with what's happening across the country this morning. And for the time being, things are still relatively quiet for most of the country. The really only things that we are seeing right now that are impactful in terms of weather is that we do have a little area of disturbance essentially that's moving across the Great Plains and will be moving into the Midwest later today. Eventually, this is actually going to bring a little bit of snow to areas in the upper Midwest as we go into tonight, tomorrow, and eventually into Tuesday. And there's also going to be some rainfall on the south side of this for areas in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, which will be very beneficial as many areas are still dealing with a drought at this time. Now, one of the biggest things that we are going to be seeing in the weather world over the next 10 days is a big cold blast and probably an Arctic blast across the United States. And this is going to be a big deal because this is going to be the coldest weather that we've seen all fall long for much of the country. To begin with, this is the cold air mass that is going to eventually build later this week. This is by Thursday. So below average temperatures are likely for areas in the Midwest and the Northeast, but you'll see it's really going to intensify as we go into Friday and Saturday. So right after Thanksgiving is when we are going to be seeing some relatively cold air in areas like the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, and this will linger through the weekend and even into early December. We are going to continue to see below to even well below average temperatures. We even could see some record-breaking low temperatures as well. So areas in the Northeast will actually be feeling winter, and last winter we didn't really see a whole lot of this, at least in December or November. So this is definitely a little bit of a different story for those in the Northeast. So this is what it's going to look like a little bit closer to the surface. You'll see this better as we go into Thursday. We are going to see that cold air mass build here in the Midwest and the Great Plains. It's really going to be felt across areas in Texas as we go into Thursday. It's going to intensify and also amplify as we go into Friday across the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, with the potential for well below average temperatures. So make sure that you are prepared for that on Black Friday. Eventually, as we go into Saturday into Sunday, this could be the coldest weather that we see out of this entire stretch over the weekend, with very below average temperatures across the northern plains, the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and even as far south as areas in Georgia. And then eventually, as we go into Monday into Tuesday, notice it is still very strong, very cold weather across areas in the eastern tier of the United States, even by Tuesday of next week. And we might not see this end until potentially the following weekend. So this could be something that lasts 5 to 7 days across areas east of the Rocky Mountains. So buckle up, make sure you have your jacket ready to go. It is looking like it's going to be pretty cold as we go into the first week of December. So what are the actual temperatures going to be out of this particular system? Well, this is what it looks like as we go into Wednesday morning. Just for reference, again, most of the country kind of normal overall. And then this is Wednesday afternoon. So just to kind of give you a reference, again, this is what we're going to be talking about for more of a typical weather pattern. Only exception really being Texas. Many areas in the 80s here at the end of November. Eventually, as we go into Thursday into Friday, that's when the cold air is going to be felt across the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. Below freezing temperatures could go as far south as Texas on Friday. So keep this in mind. If you have any vegetation outside that could be affected by cold weather, this is definitely something you're going to want to watch for on Friday and Saturday. By Saturday, the GFS model has us going all the way down into southern Alabama and even close to the Florida Panhandle. So this could get very interesting by Saturday. And eventually into Sunday into Monday, this cold air just lingers across much of the country, even into the early portion of next week. So going into early December, this would be by Tuesday morning of next week, which again is over a week away. So this could definitely change. But again, this would definitely be the coldest weather that we've seen since really February of earlier this year. And then eventually things will probably warm up again. But again, it's a little bit too far out to tell if that's exactly going to happen. Now let's talk more about what's going to be happening over the next several days in terms of rain, snow, severe weather, all that sort of stuff. Let's begin with what's happening over the next couple of days, beginning with tonight. Again, notice a little bit of light snowfall and rainfall across the Midwest will happen tonight into Monday morning. This could bring 1 to 3 inches of snow for those that are lucky, maybe an isolated spot picking up 4 inches of snow, but it's not going to be much up there in the Midwest. Eventually, as we go into Tuesday, things dry out for much of the country. So if you have any plans for Tuesday, maybe traveling, doesn't look like too shabby of a day to do so. As we go into Wednesday, we are going to continue to see plenty of snowfall across the Rocky Mountains. So if you plan on skiing over the Thanksgiving break, definitely looks nice over there. Eventually, as we go into late Wednesday Wednesday into Thursday, that is when we are expecting a storm to build across areas in the Ohio Valley, Southeast, and the Midwest. This is expected to be a relatively big storm. The question is, how intense will it actually be? The GFS model shows a solution that is really just mostly rain with maybe some isolated severe weather in the Southeast. The European model, on the other hand, has a much more intense storm, and this is what it looks like Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Notice that there's two components to this. There's one of which is being the severe weather potential and the heavy rainfall in the Southeast and as well as the Ohio Valley, and then a winter storm on the northern side of this trough. I am not super confident yet that we are going to be seeing a winter storm, but the odds of that are increasing as of right now across parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and the Northeast. So I'm still reluctant to say we're definitely going to see a winter storm out of this, but I do think there is definitely a chance that we do see one, and if one happens, we could see several inches of snow, maybe even a foot of snow in some spots. As we go into Thursday morning, this continues to move to the Northeast, and eventually we are talking about the potential for heavy snowfall even in the Northeast if this does end up amplifying and becomes a strong trough, and it also takes a track a little bit here up into New England as we go into Thursday night into Friday morning. And then here's another big thing that we're going to see out of this. I think we're going to have a multi-day lake effect snow event on the back side of this trough, and one of the biggest things with this is we're going to have to see where the wind is coming out of. If it's more of a northwesterly flow, that's going to kind of affect the fetch, which basically means the wind is not going over water far enough, and that could limit how much lake effect snow that we see. However, we could also see a lot of snow here, especially across Lake Erie over a 24 to 48 hour period. So we could see several days of lake effect snow here across parts of the Great Lakes and also Lake Erie and Lake Huron. So definitely make sure that you're staying aware if you're right near the lakes region. That could definitely bring some blizzard-like conditions if that does end up happening. And then the following week, things do look uncertain again. As of right now, it's really just up in the air for what happens there. Now, if we do end up seeing a winter storm in the Northeast or even the Ohio Valley, these are totals that could come out of it. Again, it's too early to tell whether we are definitely going to see snow, but there is a good chance if a winter storm does happen here, we could see anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of snow in a very widespread area, even areas in Ohio picking up 2 to 4 inches of snow, in some spots higher than that. And then if we do get lake effect snow, which also the European model does indicate, we could see feet of snow back over northwest Pennsylvania, western New York, and northeast Ohio, and then also a jackpot back over just to the east of Buffalo near Rochester, New York. So definitely something to watch for. Again, it's too early to tell if we're going to see this, but it is something that I am definitely keeping a very close eye on. And if it does end up trending towards the direction we're definitely going to see a winter storm, we're going to talk much more in detail about it in tomorrow's video, so make sure that you're subscribed down below. Here's a more widespread view of snowfall accumulation between now and Saturday. Again, this is all contingent on there being a winter storm. Elsewhere, most of these areas will be picking up the snow that is represented on the map. Many areas in the higher elevations could see feet of snow, and then back over in the Midwest, maybe a coating to a few inches if you're lucky, and maybe a little bit of lake effect snow as well, but does not look super significant as of right now. And then over the next 6 to 10 days, this is going to be from Black Friday until Tuesday of the following week into early December. The Climate Prediction Center is forecasting well below average temperatures and also a very high likelihood of seeing below average temperatures nearly across the entire Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. So make sure that you are prepared for cold weather, protect plants, pets, as well as people. It is going to get very cold out there. It is going to be cold for much of the country by Thanksgiving and just after Thanksgiving, so definitely, again, be ready for that. I also want to point out, I don't know if I mentioned this, but again, the severe weather threat right now looks to be Wednesday night into Thursday morning, mostly across the Southeast United States. Exactly how intense we see severe storms remains in question. It does depend on how much this trough does amplify. So, and celebrate the holidays in style with our latest release on ShopMaxVelocity.net. Our Happy Holidays collection is out. We have t-shirts, crew necks, v-necks, mugs, and as well as stickers at ShopMaxVelocity.net. It is the top link in the description below. Also, you can use code Black Friday for $5 off any purchase of $50 or more. And also, don't forget, we have several other collections out for holidays. So if you want to pick up anything for, a Christmas gift or a stocking stuffer, we do have our Flying Trampoline merch still out, and also our Drunknado merch that is still out. This is, again, one of our top selling lines of all time is the Drunknado merch. And we also have our normal Max Velocity collection as well. Again, you can check all this out with the top link in the description below.